This video is brought to you by Squarespace. From websites and online stores to marketing tools and analytics, Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to build a beautiful online presence and run your business. So it's time for episode 2 of the best home screen setups. And as always, we have 3 brand new setups to showcase in today's episode. Now, just a reminder that the setups you see in each of these episodes, they're actually voted in by those who follow me over on Twitter. So make sure you follow me over there if you want to have a say in the setups featured in future episodes. But with that said, let's cut straight to the intro. So kicking off episode 2 is this ultra minimalistic and timeless looking one-page setup that's been sent in by Alessandro. It's been made using Nova Launcher and it's got this really visually pleasing vibe about it that I thought looked great. Starting with the wallpaper, this file has been sent through directly, which of course will be linked down in the notes below. But as with a lot of solid wallpapers, this one has a really nice splash of color up the top without being overly in your face. But then down the bottom there is that silhouetted section that provides an excellent backdrop for widgets, or in this case, application icons. Up the top is a weather, time, and date widget, which has been taken from the Pixie for KWGT widget pack, widget 081 to be precise, and I've set this up to launch into the Frog Weather shortcut application upon tapping it. Down below that are those 10 application icons, and as you can see, these have been laid out in a 2x5 configuration, and each of these icons have been set up using the Kiesel icon pack, which I really like the look of. Aside from that, swiping up and into the app drawer presents us with a fairly plain looking app drawer layout, lots of apps on show, no search bar or folders, but it does the job just fine. But that's it for Alessandro's one-page setup. Excellent work indeed. All right, so setup 2 for this episode is a Nova and KLWP based 3-page setup. This one has been sent in by Malo, and this is a seriously nice setup that, as with most KLWP based setups, is super fluid and visually pleasing. So let's take a look at what is going on throughout. So as this is a KLWP based home screen, the setup process, if you're someone who wants to load this setup onto your own phone, couldn't get much easier as everything is baked into the Nova and KLWP backup files. Regardless, if we start by looking at the included wallpaper, this is a really minimal architecture-based backdrop. It is of course half cut off because of that widget section down the bottom, but I really like the look of it, particularly how those white pillars kind of blend in with that widget at the bottom. Now, taking a look at this bottom section, we first have a page dedicated to a welcome and clock widget, and then of course the application shortcuts below those, and each of these are using these super minimal icons that suit this setup perfectly. So then swiping over to the page on the right, here we have a fairly simple music player widget, again, really suiting the theme on show throughout this setup. And then if we swipe back and over to the page on the far left, the white widget actually expands to fill the screen, revealing quite a few different bits and pieces. Up the top right is a settings shortcut, then below that on the left is the OnePlus Never Settle slogan, and then some weather information below that. Then we have a Google search bar widget below that as well, and then finally a really nice calendar widget that fills up the rest of the screen. It's a really clean implementation that looks and feels very polished. Beyond that, if we swipe up and into the app drawer, we have a clean white layout with no app labels, and icons here come from the pure icon pack, which looks pretty great. A nice pop of color in an otherwise largely color-free setup. But that's it for this very fluid home screen setup sent in by Malo. Okay, so before we press on to the third and final setup for today's episode, I just want to quickly thank today's video sponsor, Squarespace. So for those who don't already know, I actually already have a website that I set up quite a while ago now using Squarespace. So when they recently reached out to sponsor the channel, it was an absolute no-brainer. For me, choosing Squarespace to design and host my site was a super easy decision. They have by far the best looking templates, which are also really easy to customize as well, meaning you can dive in and really make the templates your own. And you can even install multiple templates across your site and quickly switch between them to make sure you've got a design that you're really happy with. What's great is that each template also automatically includes a built-in mobile version as well, which is super important given how many people browse the web using mobile devices these days. They also have an inbuilt online store and e-commerce service, which is something I'm really interested in setting up and using in the future myself. And they also made it ridiculously easy for me to set up my own domain, samuelbeckman.com. I personally found the website setup process really easy, and I reckon you will as well. But if you need even more help, then you also have access to their award-winning 24/7 customer service. If you're looking to make your own website, then definitely head to squarespace.com for a free trial. When you're ready to launch that website, then visit squarespace.com/sambeckman to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Okay, on to setup number 3. And finally for today is this funky space-inspired setup sent in by Manas. It's got lots of different elements throughout, but some really cool functionality as well. So let's dive in and take a look. Right, that wallpaper again sent through directly and also found within the AMOLED Walls application. This is obviously just about the centerpiece of this entire setup. It sets up the space and planet theme perfectly, and everything else within the setup you feel has been built around this wallpaper. From there we have a range of custom widgets, each of which have been linked down below, but starting at the top we have a day and date widget that feature these really nice gradients that match the wallpaper beautifully, and I've set this one up to launch into the calendar app when tapping it. Below that is a clock widget, and this has been set up to launch into the clock application, and even though it's a super simple looking widget, it serves a purpose just fine. Then coming down below the planet vectors in the middle there, and here we have a battery percentage widget, and tapping on this launches into the battery section within the settings. And then finally on this page right down the bottom is an application search bar widget, which adds a really nice layer of functionality. All right, so then moving back up a bit, and here we have 5 application icons, each of which are using folder icons from the Quantum Dots icon pack. On the far left is a shortcut to the messages application. Then we have a camera application next to that. And when you swipe up on this icon, it also presents us with a folder that contains 2 camera application shortcuts. In the middle there is a dedicated folder icon, which is obviously very handy for hiding a bunch of applications on the home screen itself. Then next to that, we have another folder icon, and at the moment it contains music related applications. And then finally, over on the far right is a shortcut to the YouTube application. And then if we come back down to the bottom, on the far right and the far left are 2 more application icons, and these both come from the Candy Cons icon pack, and these launch into the phone application and the Google Play Store respectively. It's a lot to take in for this one page, but as you can see, it's all been packed in super effectively. Then swiping over brings us to a page dedicated to a music player widget. And even though this looks like it's just one widget, it is in fact 3. At the back, underneath everything, is a full screen widget that just fills the background entirely with black. Then up the top is an edited album cover widget that has been taken from the Ornate for KWGT widget pack. And then finally down the bottom, we have a music control and song/artist information widget. And as I said, all 3 widgets have been put together in such a way that they look like one fairly clean standalone widget. Really quickly taking a look at the app drawer, there's really nothing outrageously special about it. Icons here are from the Quantum Dots icon pack. We've got a very dark colorway on show as well, which is nice. But that is it for this setup. Again, lots to take in, but very well executed for sure. But that's it for episode 2. As always, links to everything mentioned throughout the video, including the backup files and the social accounts of those who submitted each of the setups in today's episode, have been included down in the notes below, so make sure you go and check them out. If you're interested in having your own setup featured in this series, then I've got the submission video linked below, as well as a how-to video that unpacks how to go about just even starting to customize and create your own unique home screen setups, so definitely check out both of those videos below. Finally, as with each episode, make sure to let me know which of the setups featured in today's episode was your favorite by voting in the poll up there, or you can let me know down in the comments below. But aside from that, that is it. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will catch you later.